How did we get here? And what can we do to save our educational institutions and the next generation of minds that they shape?
It's a very profound question. About a year ago or so, I was going through some notebooks of mine, and I found one that I had been keeping during the time I'd written The War on the West. And I had the good fortune until his death to have lunch or dinner about twice a year with Henry Kissinger. And I found my notes from a lunch where and I'd been discussing the War on the West with him. And I noted in my notes afterwards that Dr. Kissinger said to me, you know, it's not clear to me that a country that hates its past has any future. This is a very, very important point. It was one of the things I was trying to bring out in that book. You know, all peoples around the world, all faiths, all religions, all nations, would ordinarily have a desire to feel pride in themselves. And we all understand this, because if we bump into somebody from another country, you know, it's rather like politicians in America. A politician in America will say, which state are you from, to somebody, a member of the public, and they'll say, you know, I'm from Ohio, and they go, that's a terrific state. Yeah, okay, whatever, and it is, by the way. But my point is, at no point would any politician say, yeah, that one's okay, or whichever state the person mentions, say, oh, I don't like that one. And it's the same with nations. Just as a matter of common courtesy, we all know that if you meet somebody from another country, you say, oh, wow, that's amazing. Great place. Why do we do that? Because we know, among other things, that it is the normal state of humankind to want to be proud of where they're from and for the good things in their culture. And that applies in every culture. It would be an extremely rude, discourteous person, among other things, who said, I don't think your country's up to any good. So that's normal. That was until very recently normal. Now, what has gone wrong in our society is the question I ask, that we venerate everything that is from elsewhere and are taught to loathe everything that is ours. Now, this is what a late philosopher friend of mine, Roger Scruton, called the culture of self-abnegation. The culture in which you are taught that what is yours you must disown. You must drop. As you know, at the beginning of the War on the West, I reflected on the fact that when I first moved to New York, shortly afterwards, the New York Council Chamber voted to remove the statue of Thomas Jefferson that had been there since the 1830s. Why? Because, as one council member who voted to remove the statue said, Thomas Jefferson doesn't represent our values. Well, as a great Jefferson scholar said to me when we were talking about this afterwards, Thomas Jefferson created our values. You think religious freedom drops from the heavens like rain? You think that the concept of religious liberty is normal in human societies? Now, this is the challenge we have to answer here. It's not the case, also, that we need to fake it. We have such a rich tradition in the West, thanks to our inheritance from the Torah, from great Jewish scholars and writers, from great Christian writers, from great writers in the ancient Greek and ancient Roman worlds. It is not our place, it should not be our place to wage war on these people. We should be building on what they gave us. And this is the great task, you know. I often say that if you look at the main quadrangle in Columbia University, it's surrounded by statues of the greats. I think Dante, Aristotle, and so on. Why are they up there? They're up there because we are meant to revere and admire them. Unfortunately, a generation or two has been taught that their job, as undergraduates, as freshmen and so on, is to judge these giants. And this is a profound mistake. We must re-educate modern men and women in the West to realize. We study history, we look at our history, we don't whitewash anything, but we have the greatest of stories to tell and the greatest of heroes to revere. Our job should not, therefore, be, as the neo-Marxists and others wish it to be, to tear down the great men and women of the past. It should be to build on them. It should not be to destroy our history, but to make history.
I mean, I couldn't agree more with your answer. At UF, at the Hamilton School, that is exactly what I have been studying, and it's so valuable. And I think many people my age have never even looked at Aristotle or Plato, which is a huge issue.
Well, they have a great, rich place to go in their lives.
100%.